Okay, hello everyone, please be seated. We are starting in a minute, so wonderful to see so many of you here today. And first I'd like to tell a little bit about the background for the health design. So actually, it was already, I don't know, almost 10 years ago that there was actually a competition here at the University of Helsinki in the very same place we are here today called Helsinki Challenge. And during there I also met Saara Hassinen, who is one of the co-founders for the health design, and wonderful to see Saara also here. So most of all, I want to thank all the partners and also all the staff and all the volunteers for the hard work to make this event happen. And without the further ado, I will give the mic to Saara, please.
So thank you, and heartfelt thank to Otto, because once again, actually he has planned this event. And I also want to thank University of Helsinki and Aalto University and all the partners for very good collaboration, because without it we couldn't have this kind of event. I hope you enjoy today and tomorrow, because the program is outstanding, and I'm sure that you find a lot of old friends here, and I hope that you also find new contacts, because in the world of teams, events like this, they are more valuable than ever. So welcome all.
Okay, good morning on my behalf as well. My name is Risto Renkonen, and I had the honor to sort of tell you 5 minutes about the venue that we are now sitting in. I was the dean for the medical faculty for quite a number of years, and now I'm sitting in the board of the university, so I have some knowledge of this room. So first of all, the university in Finland was established in 1640, almost 400 years ago, but that was established in Turku. And in those times, Finland was under the Swedish power. Then Sweden and Russia once again had a war, and in 1809, Russia took Finland over, and then the current Tsar, Alexander I, sort of decided that he wants to name the university on his own name, which was quite obvious, of course. And then a couple of years later, Turku burned. There was a severe burn, and then the university was shifted to Helsinki. And that time, the Tsar was called Nikolai I, who was the brother of Alexander I. And so Nikolai I established the university here. It was still called the Alexander University, and he built all these buildings. For instance, this building is almost 200 years old. It dates from 1832. And then, once again, there was a war, now the First World War, and Finland got its independence. And then, of course, the university once again changed the name. It was not anymore Alexander, but it was the University of Helsinki. And it still was the only university in the whole country. So that was the story number one. The story number two is that as this is a main hall, and it was for 150 years the biggest hall in Finland, our most famous composer, Jean Sibelius, actually has composed 7 symphonies, and out of which 6 of them have had their premiere concert in this hall. And then the last story is that once again there was a war, and it was the Second World War, and in February 1944, the Russians, or the Soviet Union, bombed heavily Helsinki, and bombs came through the roof, and this whole university main building was very heavily destroyed. But then, luckily enough, after the war, it was rebuilt. So this was the short storyline of the room that we are now spending the day today. Thank you.
Good morning on my behalf as well. My name is Maija Lönnqvist and I'm from the Ministry of Economic Affairs and Employment. I was asked to provide you with some opening words. Or actually the minister was asked, but you only got me. This is actually a very special place to me as well. I was graduated here quite a long time ago, but still great memories. Okay, so welcome to this 2 days conference. It's so nice to see so many of you here. Health technology is not only a sector of the future, it is the foundation of growth, well-being and resilience in our societies. Across the world, healthcare and wellness are undergoing one of the fastest transformations in modern history. Digitalization, artificial intelligence and the data economy are redefining how we prevent illnesses, treat patients and conduct medical research. And in this transformation, Finland is not following. Finland is one of the leaders, and we want Finland to remain as the leader. Our country's strengths are diverse and deeply rooted. We have world-class technological expertise and one of the most trusted and comprehensive health data infrastructures anywhere in the world. Our national registries and research datasets are globally recognized for their quality and reliability. Perhaps even more important is the trust our citizens have in institutions. Finns are willing to participate in research, to share their data, and to contribute to collective well-being. This level of trust is rare, and it is one of our greatest national assets. And one other strength is our R&D capabilities. The Finnish government has made significant investments in research and development, laying the foundation for innovation and renewal in the health sector as well. These investments are already enabling the development of new digital therapies, AI-driven diagnostics and advanced pharmaceutical research. For example, last year, Business Finland invested 60 million euros on health sector. This is almost 10 million growth from the previous year. A supportive legislative environment is also one of our strengths. Laws such as the Act on Secondary Use of Health and Social Data ensure that valuable health data can be used safely for research and innovation. And at the European level, Finland has been a central actor in shaping the European health data space, a key initiative that will define the future of how health data is used, shared and protected across the EU. The growth potential in this sector is immense, and that's what we are discussing here today and tomorrow. In 2024, Finnish health technology export exceeded 2.6 billion euros, making it our fastest growing high-tech export industry. And the pharma industry provides similar figures. And globally, digital health market, the size today is 270 billion euros, and it is expected to triple by 2030, with annual growth exceeding 10%. So this is also great opportunities for Finnish companies. Finland is already recognized for excellence in digitalization, and it is well positioned to become a global testbed for health innovation. And of course, we must ensure that the new innovations are also scaled up to new businesses. But we also have some challenges. One of the key challenges to faster growth is the limited collaboration between the public sector and private enterprises. Many inventions are created in collaboration between research and care, and thus we must foster R&D incentives in the well-being service counties in particular. To bring new innovations to patients and citizens, we need better mechanisms for piloting, for obtaining references, and for implementing solutions across well-being service counties. And this is why Finland has launched the Health and Wellbeing R&D&I program for 24 to 27 during the current term of the current government, a strategic national initiative which is designed to strengthen collaboration between well-being service counties, research institutions, and businesses. The program is a continuation to the previous growth strategy that was started in 2014, and it is grounded in the government program of Prime Minister Orpo. It is implemented jointly by the Ministries of Social Affairs and Health, Education and Culture, Economic Affairs and Employment, Finance and Foreign Affairs, and Business Finland and Academy of Finland are the two main funding agencies. The goal of the program is very clear. We want to make Finland one of the world's most attractive locations for health innovation, investment and research collaboration. And our vision goes to 2030. And we see that by 2030, Finland is the leading hub for health and well-being technology R&D&I, not only in Europe, but globally. And in this vision of future, digital therapies and AI-based healthcare solutions are part of everyday life. Finnish companies have grown, scaled, and expanded internationally. R&D&I investments total reach 4% of our GDP, and our public healthcare system continues to serve as an open, trusted platform for innovation and research. To reach this goal, we need decisive action and shared commitment. In the Health and Wellbeing R&D&I program, we have recognized 5 key steps towards the future. First, we must modernize funding and governance mechanisms to encourage collaboration and commercializations. It is especially important to understand the client, the patient needs already from the beginning of any R&D&I project. Secondly, we must clarify legislation, ensuring coherent, agile frameworks for the use of health and genomic data, including the implementation of the European health data space. And thirdly, we must launch pilots for digital therapy reimbursements to accelerate market access and export readiness for new innovations. We must also establish the Finland Hub, the Suomi Hub model, a national coordination structure to connect and scale R&D collaboration across regions and sectors. And finally, we must strengthen our investment environment and our export capacity through Business Finland, through EU funding structures and private capital. And especially we should be even better to facilitate foreign investments also in R&D to Finland. Our ambition is not only to innovate, but to do so responsibly with data security, transparency and citizen trust as our guiding principles. Finland's leadership in digital governance and data ethics gives us a competitive edge that few nations can match. And we also recognize that innovation requires people, the scientists, engineers, healthcare professionals, and entrepreneurs who make change happen. Thus, we must also continue to attract top talent, foster interdisciplinary research, and create an environment where ideas can flourish and businesses can thrive. And of course, we won't succeed alone, but we also need international partnerships and influence. The Finnish voice carries weight in global health innovation. We are deeply involved in shaping the European health data space, the 1+Million Genomes Initiative, and international collaborations, such as Health AI and the United Nations Digital and AI projects. Health is also one of the 4 policy windows in the new European Competitiveness Fund, which provides great opportunities to Finnish research organizations and companies, together with the proposed Horizon Europe program. So, Finland has everything it takes: expertise, data, infrastructure, and trust. Now what we need is the courage to invest, the determination to reform, and the will to collaborate. The health technology revolution is already here, and the nations that act boldly today will define the future of healthcare tomorrow. Let's make sure that Finland stands at the forefront of that future as the most trusted, the most innovative, and human-centered health technology nation in the world. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Päivi Sillanaukee, and my title is Special Envoy for Health and Wellbeing, and I'm in charge of the government's Health and Wellbeing Growth and RDI program, and I'm based at Ministry of Social Affairs and Health. And thank you, Maija, for setting the scene. So we really are forerunners globally in digitalization of our health system, and I could say health and social service system. It's really unique that we can, and we have an integrated social and health system, but also integration in the view of data, because data really follows patient and people here in Finland. That is really rare and gives us advantage. Now I have the pleasure to moderate the panel discussion here. But first, how are you doing? Good? Hyvä. Nice. So I would like to invite the panel discussers here. So first, Saara Hassinen. And Saara comes from the HealthTech Finland. She's CEO of HealthTech Finland and knows a lot about companies and their view and also challenges. Welcome, Saara. Then Risto, you already heard him. So he has a long history in the university and research, and now you are Risto Director of Innovation at the Faculty of Medicine. Pleased to have you. Then Samuel Kaski, professor from Aalto University, and also founder of our new institute, Ellis Institute, which is an AI institute. And we really are also technologically really advanced country, and we have also and are known on good calculation and supercomputers, but also then quantum technology. And I'm really also pleased to have you here, and also I heard that you are interested in doing collaboration with health sector and health data. And health data is, did you know that 30% of all global data is health data? So really good to then begin to work on that and find out solutions for global challenges. Then Antti Vasara, actually my colleague on Special Envoy. You are Special Envoy for Technology, and you previously then was also CEO of our National Research Institute on Technology. So welcome. And last but not least, Josefine Persson, what is it? Persson, yeah. Persson, analyst, HealthCap, and your responsibility in HealthCap is health and life science investment, and you are responsible on Nordic and international markets. Good to have you here.
Great to be here.
So, we begin our panel discussion so that all of you then first tell your view of our theme, and topic, which is how to build a path to better healthcare and business growth through RDI. And I would say that how to continue to build then better healthcare and business growth through RDI. And you are prepared for 5 minutes presentation for that, and then we continue our discussion. So we will have these 5-minute presentations first from each, then we have a moderated panel discussion, and I hope that we also can then have some questions from audience. So let's begin. And Saara, you are the first one.
Thank you, Päivi. Well, I'm sure that you agree with me when I say that research, development and innovation are essential, especially in the world that is changing faster than ever. For example, with the aging population and shrinking workforce, we need new innovations to meet these challenges. That is why collaboration between researchers, well-being counties and companies is so important to achieve better results. Well, patient safety, data security and cybersecurity are all crucial. We have many regulations in place to protect patients and systems. However, these regulations have often been created in isolation from one another, and the burden for companies has become too heavy. The results is more bureaucracy, not necessarily more safety. Fortunately, the European Commission has promised to simplify the regulatory environment. Finland has actively contributed in this process, submitting many valuable comments. In fact, the Commission received over 400 proposals on how to improve medical device regulation, in vitro diagnostics regulation, and artificial act. And finally, I want to remind that all the innovations only create value when they actually used. Finland has long been a very difficult market for Finnish companies, and this is why many companies choose to expand first to Europe, to US or Asia. This means that Finns don't always benefit from our own innovations. Fortunately, exports are increasing, which means that we are able to generate more resources to build innovation-friendly market and at the same time support well-being here in Finland.
Thank you, Saara. Then Risto,
Okay.
your thoughts.
What do you want?
I was thinking that if you are free to also move around and stand if you are.
Okay. I prefer sitting. Is that allowed? Okay,
Otto,
thanks.
it's nearly November.
Okay, I'll answer the question that Päivi asked. That what should we do to increase our productivity and go to the market? It's a well-known fact, and everybody says, and that's true as well, that Finland really has a lot of health data. But then it's in silos. And I'll tell you what it means that when a researcher or a company wants to access the data, the first question is, what do we have? And when you ask this question, you have to ask it from 20 different sites, different hospitals, different well-being counties, different biobanks. It's a nightmare. So the next question is, when you know what Finland has after this round of questionnaires, then you need to get the permission to be able to download the data to your secure site. And then again, that needs a FinData approval. And then again, it doesn't yet allow you to do anything until someone really downloads the data and harmonizes. And there's a lot of handwork before the data is in a usable format. So it's very cumbersome. Thus, I have a dream, and my dream is that one day, and hopefully sooner than later, Finland would really have something that we are now speaking about European health data space, but I would like to speak about Finnish health data space. We would have an FDS type of a Finnish database. So whenever you ask this question, what do we have, you could ask this question from one side and you would get the answer very quickly on what do we have, whether it's whatever your diagnosis that you're interested in and whatever your data domains you're interested in. Then we need this authority that gives the permission to use it. That should be, of course, applicable in days, not in weeks or months, as it's now quite slow, of course. And later on, then comes the really hard thing, is that how to download the data in a secure place from different sources. But anyway, I do have a dream, and this dream is that we would have, hopefully very soon, this kind of first a virtual Finnish health data space where all these three topics could be answered. So that's my taking. Thanks.
Thank you for taking the important data aspect here. Samuel, what is your recipe for building growth from RDA, and especially when you think about then building world-class AI capabilities?
Yeah, thank you very much. And I'll use the opportunity and the permission to stand so that I hopefully can see what I was going to say. Yeah. Okay. So I thought to first spend 1 minute of your time by introducing what Ellis Institute Finland is. I'm assuming there are some who yet haven't heard about this, but that is about to change really quickly. And then I would try to answer the question from my angle. So Ellis Society, European Laboratory for Learning and Intelligent Systems, many of you probably know EMBL, European Molecular Biology Laboratory. It's a similar entity and already known in the same way as where the best machine learning research happens in Europe. So it's the constellation of the very best AI machine learning research centers in Europe, 43 of them at the moment. So we had one of these that are called Ellis units, and now the Ellis Society is expanding some of them to be institutes, and we are among the first two. So we have the second Ellis Institute of all time, Ellis Institute Finland. So all universities in Finland are partners, and VTT, several companies. And our competitive advantage is that this really is the bunch of people who are able to do new machine learning. But that does not mean ivory tower research. For instance, when I'm talking about fundamental AI, it also includes fundamentals of applied AI, meaning how do we build AI that are actually applicable so that they really work in real world, not all solutions work, and so that they are easily applicable across different problems, which is the promise that AI brings. So the institute will operate, so the different PIs, we have recruited now 10, and there already were 10, and we are going to recruit 10 more. So 30 PIs who are professors at the same time, and each has a group of, on the average, 10 people. So this really is a critical mass. And those people are, 2/3 are already here. So they will be operating across sectors, according to academic freedom, of course. But then there is strong interest among these professors on taking a few strategic things that we would try to really make a difference in together. And we have chosen health to be the first one. So then towards answering this question, so hopefully it comes as no news to anybody that AI has some promise in solving many of these issues in healthcare, starting from diagnostics until personalized treatment, maybe even navigating some complex healthcare systems. I've heard that there are some of those somewhere in the world, or maybe even designing some aspects of such systems, which are, these I know are really tough challenges. And we would have some opportunities like the data if we are able to sort out our own shoestrings so that it actually could be used. So but I have to actually alarm you with another concern, which is that we have another problem which is equally serious actually, and it is the talent problem. it is not an easy feat of getting the people to work on a problem, get them to work here and work on a problem that, for instance, I would say that, hey, here is an interesting problem, pick on it. I mean, it really needs to be challenging. We need to be able to be attractive. So the good news is that the Ellis Institute Finland is actually attractive to the very best people early on in their careers now. So we can do something. That's a huge opportunity. But now, if we want to have get them to solve some of the healthcare challenges, it needs to really be challenging in the scientific and also maybe industrial impact sense. Those are the kinds of challenges people would like to take on. So the recipe might be, if we can formulate together problems that are really on the global scale challenging enough scientifically, so it really needs to be challenging, and if we solve it, then there is an opportunity to scale globally. Then we are talking about the right order of magnitude. And I heard good news from the ministry, so hopefully we will actually be able to do something like this. And then working together on this. So of course we all know that solving these problems requires expertise from several fields. So on the top here there are some roadblocks which we need to sort out and launch these challenges. Now we have chances of actually doing something about them. And by the way, it doesn't of course work like the water flow model here. So it's much more complicated, as we all know.
Thank you, Samuel. And it is really important, not only like that we have a really good infrastructure here and people know how to use the technology and are willing to participate in research and development. So it's also important that we have a political will and support also. And as we heard from Maija then, that already since 2014, we launched then the health sector growth strategy. And the aim was then to build an attractive R&D ecosystem in Finland, facilitate then the private and public and academic collaboration to be able to solve then the challenges we have in our health system, but then also to try to get then positive impact on our national economy so that we could get then companies and support their scaling up and export also. And we are not good at that at all yet, and that is one thing we are going to then to discuss. But I think that the basis is really good here, and as you mentioned, that it has been possible then to get also global talents here because of this attractive ecosystem we have, and then the possibilities to really develop and have references from our health system to those global challenges. But now next, Antti, Vasara, you will focus on technology strategy and emerging tech then, and especially quantum technology. Am I right?
Yes, thank you. And good morning from me as well. So I as you mentioned, I got also special instructions. They were not about standing up or anything like that, but I was told to be looking further into the future. So if Risto was talking about his dream, I'm looking perhaps so far into the future that people will think that I'm hallucinating. So let me talk about my hallucinations then. So I was asked to say a few words about quantum and medtech, and the connection comes from the point that when we actually look at the overall what has been happening in the past decades or half of a century here, then actually what has been driving forward society, economy, business has been computation. So our ability to use computers to do calculations, and that's obviously behind that what Sami and Sami's colleagues are doing magic at the moment on the AI side, but also we see that the laws of nature, laws of physics are going to stand in the way in coming years, that how to constantly increase that ability to do computer calculations. And one of the solutions that has been proposed is that we will in the future be able to build quantum computers. So we are already building quantum computers, but we can be then applying quantum computers into problems that currently are unsolvable with the current hardware that we have. the connection why it comes then to medtech, and which is hopefully one of the early applications, or at least areas that where there will be a gigantic leap forward, is around pharmaceutical design. So our bodies are molecular systems, and of course medicine is working a little bit higher up at the moment, but the basic idea is that how most pharmaceuticals work, that they are essentially key that fits into a lock, and how we find that key currently is mostly done through trial and error, or very, very smart trial and error. And what quantum computers will be great at doing is that they can be at an exact level, be able to simulate that how those molecular interactions happen. And if you can simulate that what happens at the molecular level, you can start then optimizing, designing then those molecules so that they fit the right lock in the body. And that's hopefully going to be a revolution that we will be seeing in the coming years, then, that offering then chances then to do new types of pharmaceuticals that are even personalized, but at least then that they exactly solve the purpose that they're built for, with fewer side effects. There are, of course, other areas related to AI as well. The mathematics that quantum computers can do very well actually fits very well machine learning, and it will, with at least with the knowledge that we have today, we will be able to then build then quantum computers that can process even far bigger data sets that are possible to process at the moment, making then the models, the AI models, even more powerful than they are today. But that's a peek into the future. There are lots of companies already in Finland also pursuing this, even in the medical area, like Algorithmic, a spin-off from University of Helsinki and Turku, but that's hopefully will be a reality, that these companies will be producing these solutions soon.
Really exciting. And it's good that the mentality for Finnish people and culture, it's kind of an engineering mindset. But at the same time, there is courage to do something that nobody else hasn't done. So although we are a small country, there is still this kind of culture, and we have to take advantage of that. And I'm so also excited to hear also from abroad that there is a great respect and admire also the know-how we have here in Finland in regards of the use of AI technology, quantum technology, and so it gives a good advantage of us then to go further. And there comes again the political will that we get the resources and money for this, and our duty is then to try to do a good collaboration so that all the aspects are then around the table when we are planning then go further. So, and then Josefine, you are going to then focus on investment perspective here. So please, your turn.
Thank you. And it's great to be here. And I think I'm also going to take the opportunity to stand up, actually. So, I have a bit of a different perspective here, I guess. And I actually would say that we are in a very good place here in the Nordics when it comes to healthcare innovation. So I will tell you a bit more about that. But first of all, I'm just going to introduce a bit what we do at HealthCap. So HealthCap, it's a Swedish Stockholm-based venture capital firm. So we've been around for almost 30 years now, and we have been investing in healthcare, life sciences broadly. But for the past few years, we've been more focusing on therapeutics and precision medicine. And we have funded 132 companies over the years and taken 47 of them public. And we have been part of approving 34 pharmaceuticals and more than 75 medtech products. And as I said, we are now focusing on precision medicine and therapeutics, but we are also seeing a very interesting time now in health technologies and health tech. So we believe also that we are very well positioned now to drive a new type of strategy, which is focusing on health tech. And this could be something that you guys are quite familiar with. We have a global healthcare crisis, we could say. We are spending a lot of money. It's more than 10% of GDP spent on healthcare today. And this is really unsustainable in our view. So along with aging population and decreasing labor productivity, we can really say that this is a crisis that needs to be resolved. So in our view, this can really be driven by technology and healthcare and technology to come together to improve efficiency and improve clinical outcomes. And the stakeholders that will benefit from this is, of course, the patient, the provider, and what we believe have been the problem in the past is that the payer has not been benefited from many of the health tech solutions in the past. So this should really be a focus for those of you that are founders here. I think that's a really good tip for you. And we really believe that the market opportunity is very good right now as we speak, 2025. So we have really seen an accelerated software and hardware adoption just lately, now with AI becoming more used in our everyday lives. It's also actually being adapted by healthcare, which is typically viewed as a very slow-moving industry, as we know. And, the example we are showing here to the left is that ambient scribes, the transcribers of medical consultations, are really being adapted by the healthcare system, the hospitals, in a very rapid way. And, it can be compared with how slow the electronic medical records were adapted. We're really seeing pretty much of a shift here. And also the fact that many FDA medical devices are today being enabled by AI is also something that is telling us that the momentum is really good right now. And again, just to explain that we are in a good place. So Europe is actually very fast moving now when it comes to health tech. And even if the US, which is usually, driving all the technology shifts that we've seen, they are attracting in the US about 70% of all venture capital in health tech. But we are also now seeing that Europe is actually growing fastest of all regions when attracting health tech venture capital. So 2024, Europe grew 27% in the number of, or in the amount of capital that we attracted. So that is, really telling us in what I believe that Europe is coming now and really innovating in health tech. And if we zoom in on Europe and look at the Nordics more specifically, we see that in all Europe, the Nordics is attracting 10% of all capital, all venture capital in health tech. And 10% might not sound that much, but if we're comparing with the percentage of inhabitants, population, that the Nordics is representing, it's actually only 3.5%. So given that percentage, we're actually very good at attracting capital in health tech. So this is really, well, exciting to us, I believe, and I think we really are a good ecosystem here in the Nordics. Just to show you two examples of Swedish and Finnish companies, the two unicorns that we have, and this was in 2025 that we had, we could say, call it US capital rounds, actually. So Necco Health, which is the Spotify founder, Daniel Ek's, his healthcare company, HealthTech company. So they are valued at 1.8 billion US. And Aura, as we are all familiar with here, is also one of the leading health tech companies in the world, actually. So this, I think I will end here and just, well, telling that we should be at least proud of that we are very much in the front end in Europe. And I think Europe is becoming more and more important in the world going forward.
Thank you, Josefine, for those great news in regards of both Europe but also Scandinavia. So we really have to work now to get stronger collaboration between Nordic countries, definitely, because that 25 million people population could do much better in regards of, for example, pharmaceutical clinical trials than only one country. But it is also good that we can then hand in hand go and having then pilots in all of our countries. Yeah, join forces. That is a good thing. And we have the political framework, kind of the Nordic Ministerial Council, which is already more than 50 years old. So there is also kind of an umbrella under which we can have that support. But now we are going to our panel and the discussion part of this panel, and I would like to begin with talking about then the enablers for growth and first, Risto, how important do you think that the access to health data for innovation is, and that especially that companies can have access to that also and be part of playing with the health data?
Okay, thanks, Päivi. I'll sort of continue with my dream. The new European health data space actually dictates quite strict sort of rules or regulations on how well each hospital should be able to provide the data. So currently it takes months to get the access to the data and the permission and downloading of the data, but now the new European legislation, which will be enacted in a few years, will actually put this very narrow in a couple of weeks or so. So this is a good thing. We just must do it. That's not sort of a discussion. Should we do it? It's a must. And that's a good thing that we must do it. But I would like to sort of also rephrase the idea that now we are talking about data, access on the data. As I said, there are 3 levels. You need to know what you have, then you need to have that permission, and then you need to download it somewhere in a secure place in order to be able to work around with it. All these things need to be sorted out, but the point is that this is still raw data. And then we need Sami's and Antti's type of thing. We need manpower and we need computer power to really make something of it. So let's not only discuss about it's not raw data, but anyway, the data domain on its own, it needs both AI and computation power. And all together, then this would allow it. And what one of my dreams would be here is that we would have in this country, maybe Ellis Institute could be actually a node for it, is that we wouldn't have this kind of what we have called with Taneli, I don't know where Taneli is here, but the research director at the hospital, that we would have a real world data center or this kind of a site where we would have the data, we would have access to the data, and we would have the people and the computation to be able to run the analysis at the academic level and as a service for companies as well.
Yeah, thank you. And we are so often at the Europe and also in our country and talking about and focusing on the secure way of handling the data, and can we then keep the privacy there, and it makes people afraid of things. And of course, this is a really serious issue and part of the national security also, should I say. But at the same time, it would be really important also to focus on the benefits we could get from that, because there is kind of no zero state we can stay there. And the benefits are really great, not only for the patients or the people's point of view, but also the way we could then allocate better the financing for those well-being districts and follow up what kind of outcomes we are getting there from the social and health system, where our tax money is going. So it's really important that we get that transparency and get that data into work, so I say, yeah. So, Saara, then the hurdles you have seen for HealthTech growth from the company's point of view.
Okay, I already mentioned regulation and challenging reference market, which are significant hurdles for companies. But according to many surveys, a surprisingly number of companies in Finland simply do not want to grow. We Finns are called happiest people in the world, and perhaps that means that we are sometimes a bit too satisfied with how the things are and keeping our ambitions small and simple. So, how can we encourage companies to pursue growth? To achieve this, we need a wide range of incentives, for example, that innovation-friendly market, and above all, strong collaboration between all stakeholders, and that is what I think is one of the best in Finland, that we have so wide collaboration in Finland, public, private, and also ministries are with us. Because I think that only by working together we can create an environment where companies feel inspired and supported to take the next step, innovate, expand beyond our borders.
Well, thank you. So, Josefine, about then funding, sometimes we hear that in US they get already in the beginning quite big amount of investment then to grow and develop the solutions, the companies. How do you see what kind of effect then the ways and we do here in Finland or in Scandinavia, the investments and VCs then for companies? Are there anything we should do in a different way, or what is the impact of investment for startups and spin-offs?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, we should, want to grow. It sounds a bit alarming that we don't even want to, grow and scale. So that's, first of all, I think it sounds like that could be something about mindset then, because that's pretty much the difference in the US, that funding is really key to scale, of course, because you can be more flexible and then you can, work with more projects, and especially in the US, what they are good at is commercializing, I would say. And that's probably, that is also about the mindset, of course. And what we typically say is, because we've been working with pharmaceuticals for a very long time, and also medtech to some extent, but what we usually say is that it takes a lot of money and time to develop pharmaceuticals, and well, as soon as the products are approved, it's going to sell itself, basically. But when it comes to medtech and health tech, it's faster to get approval, but then it's all about going to market with the product thereafter. So then I'd say that the commercialization really is key, and that's having funding is securing your team to build out a sales force that is very eager to dive into new geographies or work on the current markets that you're on. So really going to market is what you can enable with having funding.
Yeah. And we have noticed here during this health sector strategy, but also then the growth, health and well-being growth program we currently are running. So that to get reference and to get really collaboration with our public sector providers, which we all have in Nordic countries, is not easy always. And that can be one reason also for that slow commercialization opportunity. Saara mentioned that sometimes our companies go abroad to pilot their product.
Yeah, that's true, but I have to say that companies are very interested in using data. They are producing data. They are like making software to utilize the data, and artificial intelligence is used in many of our companies. And quantum is coming, but I'm sure that because companies have data, they are also interested in that kind of collaboration as well. Yeah. But then the results goes abroad.
Yeah,
many times.
Yeah, and sometimes the procurement processes are also a burden, and here in Scandinavia, so there are still work to do, but we have data, we have technology, we have also money, I heard here. So a lot of things that we already have here. Antti, I would like to know from you then, how can we ensure that we have right talent and skills to adapt emerging technologies here in Finland?
That's a very multifaceted question in a sense that, and of course it's easy to dig into the technologies and kind of like, okay, where do we find the people who know the technologies? But in a way, I would perhaps flip the question also the other way around, that what's the impact that we want to create with all these solutions and technologies and research and development effort. So how do we actually put the patients or the people into the center of the question, that how do we, what serves best then the wellness of people, and also then if they have fallen ill, then that how do we provide the best possible care for them? And then it becomes then that technology, medicine are only part of the solution, so that how do we find much more broader set of talents that are able to understand that what's needed for the solutions, what's needed for providing that wellness and care. And that, so I think that of course we have the issues in several areas, that how can we train specialists enough, but also this, that how do we create an environment that where we create multidisciplinary talent, and sort of a setup that where the teams are working together and different competencies come together. And I think that if we can crack that one, it will be also sort of a force of attraction then to the specialists that are needed, because I think that we will make much more strides forward through a multidisciplinary approach, and then also having even the dialogue that values very multi-talented or sort of people with different talents in this context.
Yeah. that is so much needed, and at the same time, it is not easy, because when you come from different faculties and I have been working with different ministries and sectors, so the mindset and the thinking and how people see things and what are their incentives, they are so different. And that is both the good and bad thing. And then there is needed then someone who is then facilitating that collaboration. And I remember then one project from a physician working in Helsinki University Hospital, developing then AI solution. And he said that actually during that journey, he thought that one of the most important things were the coffee breaks, where the engineers and the physicians and nurses were sitting and trying to understand the thinking of each of them, and I think that is especially for Finnish people who are really feeling well working remotely. So it would be a good thing to put people into the same place. And I have also heard in many programs abroad also that it's so important that you have places and also during the process that there are also phases where then the people are together and try to understand each other. That takes time. Yeah, but it's really important. Yeah, that's the way how you can then innovate. Then Samuel, about the collaboration across research industry and country borders. So you mentioned that Ellis Institute actually is part of the network also. What kind of opportunities and challenges you see there?
Well, if I continue from the stereotype you mentioned, the Finns are, of course, it's even harder to collaborate if nobody says anything, then it's harder to understand. But if I give two other stereotypes, one would be how to do the collaboration. One would be the hero machine learning professor coming and solving all the problems in the world. And of course, some companies are operating, as we well know, in the mode that let's set up a system that solves all our problems. So far, they seem to be creating more problems than they have solved, which is of course a downside of this stereotype. The other one would be that let's build so good AI systems that anybody, a physician for instance, can just take that and doesn't need to learn any AI. And now at the moment or in the foreseeable future, it seems that if we operate in that way, then it's very easy to create so-called technological debt, meaning that the solutions are actually, there are weaknesses in the solutions that people don't see until they kick ourselves in the back. And then the problems may be bigger. So it really is crucial that we work together, which requires to kind of all of the people who work together to actually seriously invest in the collaboration. Okay, so the modes how Ellis Institute can contribute to this is that the people who are serious about the AI and are not just about the hype, right? They understand that domain expertise is crucial. Right? There may be some future where we can some of that can be ingrained in the AI solutions, but still the domain expertise needs to be there. And for a long time, especially when you are developing this, that's necessary. So they actually want to work with people who have the knowledge of the domain. And they know that they would like to have solutions that actually matter, right? So they want to build machine learning systems that are actually able to solve some problems. And for that, they need the people from that domain. So they would have that mindset. Not everybody, and people are people. But then we need the same kind of attitude from the physician, that they actually want to try to understand what this weird engineer is saying and why are they solving the wrong problem. It might actually be the right problem sometimes. So, okay, these are crucial, necessary conditions. So then the sufficient conditions begin to come into place once we add the opportunity of doing international collaboration. Nobody can be expert in everything. So then there is the whole network, other kinds of machine learning expertise. And then the expectation, of course, is that in the other domain, for a machine learner, health is one domain. They could be working in material science, and their problems would be reasonably similar in both of these. Right, so they need to have an incentive on working on health, and it would come from that problem being important, and there being collaborators who actually want to do this. And now, one crucial aspect of those collaborators, or ingredient in those collaborators, would be that there are also companies, and then there is support for spin-out activity on like venture capital who are interested once there is a really good solution. Of course, there should be no venture capital if the solution is not good, but there will be for the problems where there is no existing company who is willing to do that. So that's the very normal way of working. Yeah. There needs to be domain experts, there needs to be either companies, or then we set up our own.
Yeah, thank you. I would like to then touch the regulatory environment next. And if you could then change one aspect of our regulatory environment, what would that be? Anyone?
Well, in European Union, there are two principles that relate to regulation. One is called precautionary principle, which is what it sounds like, and then there's actually innovation principle. And I think that at the moment in the regulatory environment seems to be that it's the precautionary principle that always wins, and innovation principle is the thing that has to be the flexible one. So I would flip that the other way around.
I'm on. That's so important, and I think that one way to facilitate that would be then to focus more on the benefits.
Yeah, and at the moment, innovation is guilty unless proven innocent, and it should be the other way around.
Yes. Good. Saara.
Okay, I would encourage companies to take firm grip on regulations and not let them discourage you. Collaboration is also key here. For example, in our associations, working groups, experienced members, they share their insights to newcomers, for example. Technology is also stepping to help. First, AI-powered tools for documentation is coming. And of course, we are waiting for that Commission's Christmas present. So there really is a hope that we'll be finally see lighter regulation and a lot of technological help to help companies, but also other organizations. And what is very important, and all this must be done without compromising safety.
Yeah.
I would continue, especially on Päivi's and Antti's point, is that it will be extremely crucial to flip this setup, that we would see also the benefits. But at the same time, as Saara said, when we are talking about, for instance, health data, it's so intimate and personal that has to be sort of secured. But we are currently fighting on the European level whether anonymized data or double times pseudo data would be enough. And these kind of issues are actually quite remote, so that I hope that we'll gradually begin to see really the benefit side. And then again, of course, it's all of us need to also be in that side, that we need to show the society the benefits. That it's not only talking about quantums or AIs, which are sort of still hype. We would really need to be able to provide direct, provide good evidence, so that the patient healthcare system really benefits the things that we then do. And I truly believe that this will be the way to go.
Yeah. So the public discussion is really important.
We need to have the patients and the public all the time in the discussions. So when we are talking about doing things together in our domain, we need to talk to the society and especially to the patients.
Yeah. And here we come again to that what Samuel said about that to have different sectors, different domains, then working together and trying to then talk more about then the outcomes of this research and the potentials we can get having these technologies and data and companies and public.
Especially like Sami's sort of first slide, he said that let's focus on important questions and answers.
Yeah.
And not just do everything, but really try to find the questions that need to be answered.
Yeah. And we have an ecosystem here in Nordic countries where these challenges can be solved because we have those longitudinal register data, quality data there, and we also have the infrastructure, know-how, trust here, as Maya mentioned also in her words, that opening words, that trust is really, really precious thing and gives opportunities for innovation here. So then get talents here to work with us and be clear also that and say about that what would be those challenges we could solve here, and I think that would resonate well with media, but also with our people here, companies. Then we are quite often focusing on technologies here. And I think that also different sectors from different ministers and ministries, it's so important that they also understand then that we need to get out of those investments something that benefit the society and also our national economy. Sometimes I think that we offer a really good ecosystem here in Finland, but then we lose then the economical impact because then most of the innovations are bought outside of Finland already in early phase. So we should therefore focus on as Josefine said, on commercialization also and keeping them here in Nordic countries longer time, those companies. Then what about then the potential of these emerging technologies? About Samuel and Antti, perhaps Risto also, what kind of opportunities and potential you see with these emerging technologies that they can transform healthcare in Finland? Who would like to? Samuel.
If I pick one thing, it would be the foundation models. But now I'm not only meaning what people usually mean is the language model-based models. I mean, those are important as well. But now, given the data that we have, there is an opportunity of having really large-scale, population scale, maybe Europe scale foundation model, which would enable doing decisions in different ways, or from individual kind of personalized treatment decisions, diagnostics, but also on planning population scale interventions. And maybe even assisting in planning the healthcare systems. But so this is not ready-made technology. I think that some of the big companies, big tech, are probably kind of advertising that they have the solutions to this. No, they certainly don't have. So the multimodal models in this sense and the ways how to do the decision-making support on top of these. This is something where I think we would have a unique opportunity of being pioneers.
Yeah, I totally agree. And also then we need the financial and steering system, the changes that Maya also mentioned that we have in our growth and RDA program. One of those cornerstones is that we have to also think that we give right incentives by financing our systems, because now it seems that the financing system gives a big burden towards shifting then from ill care to prevention or more timely care. So it's the health system is paid by the illness, how much illness there is. And then also the yearly budgeting is one burden, because when we are doing this kind of transformation and transition in our health system towards then more personalized, more timely care, more prevention, it takes time, not only 1 year. And how to see then and we have the data, but we don't use it to actually follow up and try to get out of the right outcomes, which are actually written in the legislation of the whole reform. Any other?
If I could sort of continue and tell the audience what I think about what you mean when you are talking about foundation models and health data, is that we have not had previously a possibility to analyze patients. For instance, only in the University Hospital, Helsinki University Hospital, we have a data repository for more than 3 million individuals in a time series manner for 10-15 years for the patients. And now we have all the lab measurements and all the ICD-10 codes, the diagnosis and the treatments, surgeries, radiotherapies, medication, and so forth. And now we can really begin to play with this data in a way that we have never done medicine before, and try to pull out phenotypes, clusters, whatever, and do also this kind of, try to understand what is the hidden state of the disease when it develops into good or bad outcomes. And these kind of types of analysis, as you said, it's in the making. We don't have all ready recipes how to do this, but this is a combination of AI developers and medical people, and trying to together to really do something that is totally novel. And once again, it's so that if we don't do it now, someone else will do it anyway, and we would really need to do it as we have the data and we have the AI capacity in this country.
Thank you, Risto, taking up that somebody is doing it anyhow.
Yeah.
Because health systems are going through technological transformation. Countries are investing in defense now a lot, but still the health systems are going through the technological transformation everywhere. So it is the question, where do you develop the solutions? And we have here then in Finland really good opportunities, and in Scandinavia and Nordic countries we have the opportunities to be the ones where these can be really developed and then export. It needs also collaboration with different countries, because ministries are regulating then the business environment there. Therefore, the public, private, and also government collaboration is needed, and that's why we are special envoys here, me and Antti, also trying to bridge then the countries and administration also into the picture, supporting then the collaboration with private, academy, and public sectors. I would like to involve now audience. Do you have any questions before we take closing remarks from our panelists? Please.
Thank you for the discussion. On the foundation models for health, how is it ensured that the data is not extractable from the models on an individual basis? Is interpretability or some other way the way to go? Moving too fast often results in breaking things.
Anyone? Samuel?
Yeah, a very good question, and of course it's really vital to make sure that this is handled. So 2 ways. So one is that I would separate the development of the basic technology and then the deployment of it. And we can, in the development of the basic technology, we can naturally, by using secure environments, we can make sure that it does not leak out with the traditional techniques. But you're absolutely right that if somebody were to release that whole model in public domain or usable in whatever way, it would be possible to, or it is very hard without new technologies to protect so that data wouldn't leak or individual person's information would not leak, because these models are capable of memorizing simply. So that deployment, either new technologies need to have been developed by that time, or then it needs to be done in a way that people cannot access it directly and fetch the data.
Thank you. Thanks for your contributions. Stephen O'Rourke is my name. I've founded Clarify Regulatory Consulting here in Helsinki, helping startups deal with the regulations. So with the shameless plug and promotion out of the way, my question is about, so Saara, you mentioned that a lot of startups are maybe leaving Finland or are not so focused here because maybe they're not so motivated or ambitious. But I actually see it another way. I think the main thing that's blocking startups is inadequate access to regulations. And what I mean by that is a lot of the regulations are written with the big companies in mind. So for me, what needs to change there is to new approaches to regulations for startups to make them more accessible. And one way to do that is to look at a regulatory sandbox model, which is being tried in food tech. In the UK and Singapore, it's doing quite well. So I'd love to get your opinion on that when applied to medtech.
Yeah,
Thanks.
yeah. Actually, they are building in Finland that kind of sandbox. I've heard that. So hopefully that is coming, because I've heard that, for example, FDA, when you go to US, you can like have discussions with the regulator, and there isn't that kind of system in Europe. Basically, it's one of the reasons is that FDA is both medicals and technology. So it's very easy for them to handle these things. In Europe, we have EMEA for pharma, and then we have notified bodies in technology. The systems are totally different. But anyway, because we have seen that same things, that some kind of sandbox is needed where companies could get advice what kind of things they have to take into account. And I'm seeing Heikki Pitkänen there and lean entries. Actually, lean entries service is excellent for all companies, big and small, to see which classification, for example, the solution you are planning is doing. So there is a technological help, but there is also plan of that kind of sandbox.
Yes, and pilots are really important. We have to get early in the development, then that collaboration going better than we now have, that we could pilot things and then find out also that how we should change the legislation. I think we had quite optimal situation now because the commissioner responsible for these issues comes from Finland, comes from Nordic countries, so that we could then offer our Nordic countries environment then for piloting then the ways that how the regulation should be harmonized at the EU level, because so many countries are coming far behind us then in these issues, and politicians need support from their people to be able to change the legislation. And if there is no understanding what the technology can do and benefit for people, so it's so important that at the European level we also have this kind of discussion on and can showcase then that what we can do, and it is safe to use then these technologies and data also. Other questions?
So yeah, my question related to there is a trend that it's easier for AI-based solutions for medicine to raise money rather than medtech devices. So do you think it reflects the need that we do not need so many new medical devices, or is it a problem that it's just easier for ventures and investors to invest in AI medicine solutions?
I can start answering that question. I mean, for investors, it's a lot about hypes. So right now we're going through this AI hype for sure. So it does not necessarily tell that, well, AI will be, or it will be here. It is here to stay, but that the AI-based companies are able to raise money now, I would say it's a lot about the hype, and that, well, investors are really like suffering from fear of missing out, FOMO. So I think that this hype it's probably gonna slow down a bit ahead. And I think, well, hardware and, well, just software in general are just, with or without AI, it's very attractive for investors.
Can I add a quick question here? So do you think then that there should be some support to change a little bit this game? Because in the time when AI solutions raise the money, there are very good many medical device-based startups which do not have access to that money, meaning it slows down the development of new medical devices.
I mean, maybe you can just add AI to your slide deck, and then that will help. Because we're actually seeing that a lot of companies that are not even working with AI, or really that they just add that they are, well, they will work with AI.
Okay, good advice.
That's a tip.
If I can just continue on that one, I think that there's a bit more happening there, which is similar to other fields, not only medtech, that many investors avoid these kinds of ideas that where you have to build something physical, so that there's devices to be built, there's manufacturing, there's cost, it takes time, all these things, so that the AI applications, the clock cycle is much faster, so that they are for many investors more attractive. But then at the same time, there are funds that invest into, especially they look for the ones that are investing into something that where you build tangible things, because then you also build a better moat than long term, and it may take longer time, and it may require more capital, but you just need to find the right investors. So I would not lose hope.
Yeah. Thank you.
And could I add, Päivi, still one comment, that today's AI is the same thing that 25 years ago the internet bubble was. When internet bubble was on its hype, there was huge amount of investments there. Then the bubble burst, but of course internet remained, but it's sort of on a different level than in the hype. So now we are in the hypes of AI.
Yeah.
I remember when bio was the buzzword, and then came nano. So they have always been that kind of themes.
Yeah. Still?
Yes, thanks. I'm Daniel Raivio, professor in the University of Helsinki and research innovation director in Helsinki University Hospitals. So maybe I heard some answers to this, but it takes two to tango. So there is the research and innovation, and then there is the partner, which is regulation. So now the panel is there. How are you going to set up the footprints and the next steps so that the dance continues? We heard some threats that not may be the case, but if you look in the future, what are the magic bullets that both parties are still interested to operate in Finland? Thank you.
We can close with this question. So if we go now from Saara into Josefine, and any thoughts about that?
Well, I think somebody else can start, and I will think a bit.
Okay, Risto.
If I can start, and as Daniel well knows, we currently are in the process that the secondary law, the Act for Secondary Use of Health Data is discussed in the Parliament, and we'll get hopefully good changes into that. So some good things are sort of in the making, but then the other crucial thing that I would sort of call upon everybody on both the public and the patients, and then the researchers and everybody, would be that we interpret the laws in a very sort of, as Päivi put out, in a positive way, that we need to take, of course, into account that patient security is in a good condition, but at the same time, we need to get the benefits out of this data. And we have to sort of change from the idea that we secure everything and then do nothing. That's the ultimate goal of many secure people, that the more secure, that means the less you do anything. But we sort of open the Pandora box in a way that we take care of the security, but still look for the benefits on the right side. And the legislation actually, especially after the renovation of the legislation, would allow this if all the lawyers and the community altogether would sort of have the trust on it.
Yeah, and I think that I'm hopeful because the Data Security Authority, for example, in Finland, the previous one, after he had made very no-go decision then in regards of one project, which would have been made possible then to see the risks for diseases earlier. Then afterwards said that, oh, if you would have more explained then the big picture and what are the benefits, and so he probably could have done another decision. So we perhaps need more dialogue between then the authorities, lawyers, and then the health professionals and technologies representatives to be able to understand then.
Yeah, absolutely. And we would need these good examples, as I mentioned previously, that we would need to be able to show the public what we can do with this data and these AI things.
Yeah. Otto has promised then one more question there from audience. Yeah.
Yes, thank you very much. Ivan Zubarev, researcher, Aalto University. I was asked to keep it very brief. So the question is about preventative healthcare. I think everybody here agrees that it has to happen, and that will solve so many problems. What, in your opinion, needs to change in the current incentive structure so that we will move towards working preventative healthcare?
Saara.
I hope that we could see things in Finland's perspective, because now we are like investing money from my pocket and from your pocket, and if I invest something but I don't get the benefit, Päivi gets, so I won't put my money. But if we have a Finland's pocket who both invest and also get the benefit, that is how we could understand much better that it's worthwhile investing in prevention.
Yes, and as I mentioned, that is not only Finland's challenge, it's a global challenge, because the financial system for health systems have been more based on the illnesses and curing those illnesses. But now we actually are in the phase where, which the aim of the health policies have been for decades. There have been the health policies, WHO and all countries have had that we would like to move towards prevention more and more precise care. And now we have the data, we now have the technology, so we have to think the whole picture and also change the way how we finance and how we steer this. And we have to then follow up. It's the yearly budget way of thinking is, we have to change it because the technology is also changing all the time. We have to like the yearly budget, but at the same time follow up that the whole health system is going to the direction we want it to go, actually. So that's why we need different ministries to work together, and I'm so happy that the Ministry of Finance is also on board with us here. But hey, we have used now our time here, and it's time for lunch. I really thank you for this panel. I have enjoyed a lot, and we have then viewed from different perspectives then this important issue. And also thank you for audience, and let's give a big applause to our panelists.